Hey YouTube, this is Raj, and today I'm going to be talking about the red dye in Minecraft and basically how to get it. So, why don't we get started? There are 4 different ways to get red dye. The first one is through beetroots, the second one is rose bushes, red tulips, and poppies. As you can see here, this is already grown, but beetroots have 4 stages that they grow in. This is quicker than the other crops, which have 8 basically stages. The other thing is there's a 1/3 chance it'll advance a stage when it gets a tick. A tick is basically when that tile updates. The other thing is there's a 75% chance when you use bone meal on it that it'll go 1 up in a stage. So it's one of the 4 crops that villagers will farm. Obviously, the ones are wheat, carrot, and potatoes. There are several different ways if you want to farm this to get red dyes. There's obviously the manual way to till the soil, plant the seeds, and then harvest it yourself. There's semi-automatic versions where you can plant them and then you get a water dispenser to actually harvest the crops and they go into hoppers. The third one is this is used for stuff like wheat and potatoes. So basically what you do is you have a villager that's a farmer. There's this job site block. There's water underneath here. And these are all beetroots here. He'll harvest beetroots. And basically when he has excess beetroots, he'll try to pass it to a villager here. It'll drop into this cart. And then there's hoppers underneath here that go into this chest. Now, I've actually done some testing previously for a video about this farm and beetroots, and it was actually very inefficient. So you can try it, but it may not actually be that efficient for beetroots, and especially to get red dye. But that is one option if you want to use beetroots. So this is a table. It shows all the different flowers that it will generate and what biomes they'll generate in. So with rose bushes, as you can see, there's 2 biomes that they will generate in. What this means is that they'll generate at the beginning of the game in that biome, but basically you can't grow them in that biome. So the 2 biomes that they generate in, flower forest and forest. So forest is like birch forest, etc. So in those 2 biomes you'll actually find rose bushes. So I'm just going to quickly show you how you can get red dye from this. So if you plant a rose bush and you get bone meal, and if you click the bone meal on the rose bush, what'll happen is it'll produce another rose bush. So what you can do is basically, for every piece of bone meal, you'll get 1 rose bush, which is not a bad trade-off because basically 1 piece of bone meal can be turned into white dye. So basically you're trading 1 piece of bone meal for 1 red dye, which is pretty good. So the 2 other ways that you can get red dye are through poppies right here. And as you can see, there's a lot of biomes that they generate in, or tulips, which are 3 different biomes. So there's 4 different tulips: white, orange, pink, and red. And you can see there's an overlap here. So the first 2 at the top, they both generate in flower forest biomes. So just if you don't know how flower forest biomes work, here's a sort of an example. So they generate in this pattern called the flower forest gradient. And this means that there's sort of this pattern where they may be grouped together, but if you remove something like this orange tulip here and you put bone meal down, it would generate another orange tulip. So what this means is if you find dyes that you want in a good spot of like an 8x8 area, you could put a flower farm there and you could put bone meal into the soil and generate those flowers and then harvest them and you'll have those dyes. So that's one way to get red dye, is through the flower forest biome. So the other thing you should consider is how the plains and sunflower plains generate flowers. So this is kind of unusual. It's unique to those 2 biomes, but they have this gradient that's similar to the flower forest, but it's tulips and non-tulips. So what this means is if you can find the tile that doesn't generate tulips, if you use bone meal on it again, it'll generate a flower that isn't the tulips. And this means that the tulips will keep generating one of the 4 colors that are tulips. So if you want red dye from there, you could get dye from the red tulips part, and you can also get poppies from the non-tulips part. with the poppy. It generates in those two biomes, the flower forest biome, also the forest biome, and any other biome. So basically the only two flowers that grow in any other biome are the dandelion and the poppy. And what it means by any other is besides sunflower plains, swamp plains, forest, flower forest, badlands, mushroom fields, and nether. The other thing that's really interesting is with the jungle and savanna biomes, you're twice as likely to generate dandelions and poppies. This means that you have less of a chance of getting all the other flowers, so if you just want red and yellow dyes, that's the best option, is to put a flower farm down in the savanna or jungle biomes. Okay, and the last thing to explain is basically what dyes you can get from the red dye. So if you see here, here's all of the ones. So if you have 2 reds and 1 blue, if you craft those in, you'll get a magenta dye. And also remember, if you put 3 dyes into the crafting table, you get 3 magentas out of it. The next one is red and yellow. You'll get an orange dye. The red and white will get a pink dye. And then these are the secondary dye. So that's red and blue will get you purple. And the reason this is different than these 3 is because you can actually get flowers that'll craft into these colors. But with this one, the only way to get purple is to craft red and blue together. So what I'm just going to do quickly is basically I am going to craft a bunch of things just to show you how it works. So as you can see here, there's 2 dyes here. The red one, obviously I'm going to do that. So I just did rose ones. You can see I can do it with poppies also. The next one is rose bushes. Pretty much just going to end up doing all of them, aren't I? Rose bushes. I guess red tulips are the last one. And then as you can see here are all the colors I can do. So pink would be red and white. Magenta, blue, 2 reds and a white. I guess I got that wrong. Purple is red and blue, and orange is red and yellow. So hopefully that gives you an idea that how valuable the red dye is, because there was 5 different dyes that you can do. So that was red dye in Minecraft. I hope that was helpful for you guys in understanding where to get red dye and how valuable it is in creating other dyes. So if you like this video, please give me a like. If you want me to keep producing content, please give me a subscribe. You can always leave a comment. I appreciate that and read the comments. And stay classy, YouTube. This is Rock. Wow.